Greetings, everyone on YouTube, and welcome back to Age of Mythology Retold with me, Kemsit. And today we're going to be continuing on with the content creator interview with Jay Shotachou and Rock. Rock is sadly not here, for he has pulled out because he's really ultra shy, and he felt this was going to be like a trial. But by all means, I'm sad to hear that. Just like he is, um, and he was gonna be the one who's gonna bear the language barrier over here, which also is something that he felt like very responsible with, and it is already something I've also mentioned far before had too. So he pulled that, and by all means, I was really all right with that. And he has mentioned like, hey, it's not something that you have done, etc. And I'm glad and even eased to hear that and read that. So I'm just informing you guys for those who were even looking forward to this as well. Which once again, I'm really saddened, but it is what it is. So we're just gonna push forward. But then again, the good news is Jay has Shota Chow has answered the list, and we're gonna just simply make a video out of it. So by all means, everyone, please lend me air and some of your time, as there will be very interesting questions and answers that can be given, nice points of views inside the news, etc., to take heed from. So keep me open in your alt tab, and or just when you're just eating and drinking, etc. With that said, let me just get going to the first question. I've definitely mentioned to them as well, right, where they find most inspiration from. They have said that's a big question. Actually, I've known about AOM since I was a little kid, and one day my brother showed me that it had an editor built in, where you could do whatever you wanted. I've put it down since. At first, I was just having fun putting the Titans against Osiris, but little by little I tried to create more coherent maps, eventually coming up with small scenarios and started to incorporate triggers. But it was really with Retold that I first wanted to create something big that strangers might enjoy. Beyond Age of Mythology, I'm passionate about video games and a digital artist. It's actually my dream that one day I create a game from start to finish that truly reflects who I am. Now that is really interesting question, and honestly I think so far it's the most rare one because we have not really received such answer, let alone an artist of yourself, especially digital artist, which really looks good and very dedicated that you're trying to do this, and something that one can look up to, even how should I say, applaud and of course support. Because if you're going to create a game, by all means do so and let us know. But when you do, um, and hope you'll be able to chase your dreams as well. So then the next question is, of course, where they would have gotten the inspiration from, be it from certain games or books or movies or even real life events. And the answer here on the second question would be, let me just quickly read it through over here for you guys because, sorry, I'm just reading it to my second. Yeah, here. Uh, I think that for AOM, I just draw inspiration from existing campaigns. I always try to make map looks believable, so that you could almost think they're official, even though it's a lot harder than it looks. Um, I think I've also felt that, especially I think with those pillar campaign mission, it felt very similar to some of the Chinese campaigns as well in the extended edition. I don't know if they're very similar or not, but I think I felt that for sure as well. And you guys do a very good job to make it feel very classical one, because it felt not so taxing, very innovative. The missions were very different, not just constantly build and destroy. So it's really pleasant to go through them as well, honestly. So keep up that good work, honestly. Now we're gonna ask the third question, of course. Can you tell us about one of your favorite creations? And their answer in this, her answer, I mean, into this question is very, very long. But again, I'm very happy about it. So Yes, it's not a surprise. It's Tale of the Dragon retold. One of the most of the projects I'm most proud of in my entire life. There's so much to say about it. I'll have to keep this as briefly as possible. Honestly, you've tried, but it's already very big. The Tale of the Dragon was originally a DLC from Age of Mythology extended, released 10 years ago, but it was very poorly received from a whole bunch of reasons. Notably, the game was buggy and had a nearly no existing storyline. I think I remember that again, not to paint you guys bad or something, but it was kind of. Um, but in 2016, I was still young enough to be overjoyed that a new civilization was coming to Age of Mythology. And personally, I really enjoyed the experience. There were plenty of issues, but the campaign at least offered original concepts and varied environments. Little by little, I started to joke that I was the only fan of TOTD, the Tale of the Dragons, I think, is what they mean. But when Rock joined me on Retold, we got fired up and decided to try actually make the campaign. Now, there goes some nice partnership over here. Look at that. Um, we didn't know yet what would happen when the Chinese arrived in Retold, but we suspected they would bring back the old campaign. So when the DLC finally came out in March 2025, we jumped right into the project just to see how it would turn out. The first mission I finished was Mission 8, A Way Out in the original Tale of the Dragon, or South as I rename it. And even at that point, I was so happy with results that 100% motivated me to finish the entire campaign. For 4 months, I spent all my free time on it. I was just mesmerized by the project. And if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't hesitate. It was really fun for me. Now I'm finally, now know the final result isn't perfect. Ran into major issues due to the near total lack of playtesters law. Typically, after watching your video on the campaign, I patched a few details I hadn't even thought of, like the fact that the Pioneer's lenses could trigger events, for example. Sorry. Oh Lord, I am really the one who is breaking shit. Okay, there have been a lot. There have also been issues with difficulty. In fact, the original Titan Tale of the Dragon was extremely difficult. Campaign on Titan difficulty. Yeah, I agree. I honestly was unable to do them very much. Well, I definitely struggled a lot, and I would definitely advise to have a bit of uh, adjustments for sure. But again, skill issue can be presented. So we had planned to do something similar, but in the end, we still made certain missions a lot easier. Mission 1 and 5 were ridiculously difficult in the original campaign. That is very true. Even I, in the first mission, struggled a lot too as well. And sorry to say, but right now too. Um, Unfortunately, some missions still seems too difficult today. I've seen quite a few complaints about the first mission in particular. We had already changed it significantly during development, but even after the mod was released, I had released a few patches specifically to reduce its difficulty. It's extremely hard for us to gauge because we know by heart what happens in them and show how to win easily. On a more positive note, what I'm most proud of in this project is all the additional additions we've made to enhance the campaign. We brought back all the new Chinese heroes introduced in Retold, and I think they all fit perfectly into the perspective scenarios in which they appear. In particular, the character of Yang Jian, who truly lives up his reputation as a unit in the game upon the DLC's release. A hero so powerful that he can defeat armies all by himself. I honestly, I fully agree with it, but there is something I want to also mention as well. You as creators know exactly what you put in and make. You as player don't entirely. Surely you can always try to um, min max your way by micromanaging and cheesing certain strategies, etc. But in my opinion, cheesing strategies does not really feel good, and you don't feel like you're playing. Like I'm not playing this in a way in competitive mode. Like it still doesn't feel fair or ethic in my opinion. Let's say that. But on the other hand, um, I can see definitely that you guys have definitely like tested this, and it's something that should have been tackled, and something that could have been um, halted or dodged, so to say, by asking around in any kind of Discord server as well, and making sure that this person doesn't do that. Of course, you're not going to go around, hey, uh, I want to have a tester for this campaign and spoil it all out. No, you should say, hey, we're looking for testers because we're scenario editors and all that. Ask going around for that can still keep some discretion, but also try to get someone going. And of course, you want to trust that person as well. So you'll have to see how this will go. And by all means, I think you guys can make a little contract, of course, where that person is gonna, sign it, or you just make a screenshot of that message. And when they do, how should I say, do not remain discreet, you could definitely, paint them bad for sure. I would do that if I were in your place. This is my only hints and tips and tricks I would personally do in these kind of approaches as well, because I've, as a content creator as well on YouTube, I have faced such issues already. So by all means, try to remain safe, etc. as well. Um, my favorite campaign is obviously the Fall of the Trident. But if I had, okay, wait, let me just first read you guys the get question. Of course, I really forgot about that. Sorry, guys. I asked which campaign or event, even missions, is your favorite. Now, let us then return to the. Oh, curses. Kimzit, what are you doing? Why do you toss away that answer? Here. Sorry, guys. My favorite campaign is obviously Follow the Trident, but if I had to pick a specific mission, I think the one that left the biggest impression on me in mission is Mission 20, Where They Belong. Now, let us take a look. This is the mission that they favor a lot, or her here. Now, honestly, I think this is very amazing too, because this is where Osiris comes from too. But I think it is also because, childhood nostalgia, especially since she has mentioned, like, hey, in editor, I would have used used Osiris against Titans and fight one another. So yeah, it's quite amazing. It is particularly fun to play, and it's pretty stressful at first. But ending cutscenes with Osiris Resurrection made such an impression on me when I was a kid that it's still the first image that comes to my mind when someone mentions Age of Mythology. See, like I told, I without even looking entirely through the text and reading it out fully, I already had the feeling this was coming. But then again, I can imagine and feel empathy for this, honestly. But yeah, I agree. Um, moving on to the next question then over here, lads, which is question 5. What is your most favorite custom campaign scenario? It can be your own or of that someone else. Now, of course, Jay would obviously say to question 5, and that would be uh, I have to admit, I'm a bit of a fraud in the mod campaign community. I've hardly played any of them. I have, however, played several of these Man Gods and Vimira's reverse missions, and I thought they were really great, especially the Golden Gift. I think I must agree with them, or with you. Um, I feel the reverse scenario was far more unique and far more nicer, and it felt very literally reversed. Like there's so much little more spices they've definitely added, and something that I personally have already encouraged them to do as much as possible as well. Because I feel like if you're gonna make a reversed, you want to play in the shoes of the enemies. So the enemies should obviously have their own objectives on what they should do. Even with the previously played Athenian campaign, well, that is what we did too. All we had to do is destroy two of the forces, but I would have preferred also some different objectives ourselves. And I've already stated that. I'm just not gonna, bother too much about speaking about it. But like I said, you want to make it feel far more uniquer and more funner to play through as well. And that is what I've already mentioned. And yeah, they have taken the good and left the bad. Let's say that, or well, yeah. But that is also a good intake, and I think everyone should definitely give them a try, especially the reverse campaigns, especially the Golden Gift. In my opinion, was one of their most successful one too. Um, we're gonna move on to the next mission, and if I could pick a scenario of my own campaign, I'd say Mission 6, The Realm of the Dead, because the scenario I've changed the most compared to the original campaign. It's actually something completely different at this point, both in terms of the map and the gameplay concepts. I'm happy because I was able to incorporate a concept that fits the new Shannon from Retold, while also staying true to the scenario core idea. And having a boss fight against a titan is always a blast. I agree. Um, it definitely felt very unique. I definitely liked that mission too. It was sure challenging at the end. I was always scared crapless as well, but it is a nice concept to do as well over here because this also made me remember. I think it was mission. It remind me of Revelations over here, right? Or Stranges, because Revelations was literally the boss was basically the gates and all that, and you just tried to rush it over and try to destroy him. It felt like that, so it felt really cool to go through. Honestly, I enjoyed it. But yeah, now we're gonna move on to the next question, which is question 6, of course. And the question is, what have been the most challenging moments in your journey as a custom campaign or scenario creator, and how did you overcome them? Now, Jay has answered the following, ladies and gentlemen. I think the part where I really struggled was when I had to learn how to format the campaign menu as well as the string files, so I could have French translation. But overall, nothing remained a hurdle for very long. Thanks to the fantastic community and the wealth of the helpful tutorials available here, special shoutouts to Yibagoon's tutorials as well as K1 on the forum, which really helped me understand how everything fits together. As for creating the scenarios themselves, I struggled a bit to get the garden working, but once it was up and running, everything worked so well that I actually have pretty fond memories of it despite difficulties. There was also a moment that wasn't exactly fun when the Japanese DLC came out. For some strange reason, the model from my small Chinese grasses were replaced with a model of a big bush. Fortunately, it was fixed quickly, but for a few days, several missions of the Tale of the Dragon were filled with big bushes, and it was awful to look at. Lamo, yeah, can imagine. But this is something that often happens as well, right? This is what we've heard, be it in Retold, be it in Age of Empires 2 community, from the content creators. Whenever a new DLC or patch comes out, many of those files or textures tend to get bugged, and that is really frustrating. Um, but so far, like you've already mentioned, and the others as well, they do tend to get fixed rather quickly as possible. It's just definitely vile to look at as well. But it's okay, really, and I'm glad to read that everything is fixed right now. So, I'm gonna move to the next question, which would be question number 7. And this is: have you collaborated with other creators? If yes, what tips would you give for a successful partnership in the community? If no, would you be up for collaborations? Now, this is a question that I'm definitely looking forward to because I have already heard many people mentioning you, Jay, and so far I've definitely seen some great cooperation between you and Rock as well, and it felt wonderful. The way that you both have spoken in the Discord server group, by the way, you both are very friendly, honestly. Um, yes, first of all, I obviously created the TOTDR campaign together with Rock, who designed the overall structures of Mission 1, 2, and 4. We also made sure all the English text in the mod was corrected. We'd been friends for ages before that, so working together was pretty much a given, lol. But more recently, I've also had the pleasure of working with these men's gods, Vimerius, who initially reached out to me to create a reverse scenario based on the TOTDR But since then, I've continued to work with them whenever they needed help with the campaign menus, and it was a pleasure. They're really lovely people. I'm really glad to hear that, honestly, because, like I said, and I've always suggested to any other people as well, especially MK, whom we had the honor to also um how should I say interview, to help one another and reach out to one another, even if you guys do not have the time, which I can understand. There's always room to help one another, even if it's just a little small moment, or just give some textures or guidelines, etc., or referees as well, because this could save everyone's time, more productivity, and nourish a positive community over here, or teach one another into something else, and that can be very rewarding, because like I always say, any adventure is the key to a small chest with a wonders within. So by all means, try to be open for it as well whenever someone offers you such. And yeah, if you don't have time, that's by all means fine, you can always state that for sure. Definitely, I'm working. Looking forward to how you guys will be creating the Tale of the Dragon Retold over here for sure. I'm very eager to see, because even I had the pleasure to work with these men Scott and the Mirrors especially. Very pleasant guys as well, and especially you two, by all means as well, Jay and Rock. You guys are very great. Um, we're gonna move on to the next question, which would be question 8. Now, this question is: what advice would you give to someone who just starts out in the custom campaign and scenario creations? This is a very curious question. I'm looking forward to. This question would, of course, be um, don't hesitate to watch some tutorials. The AOM editor might seem intimidating at first glance, but it's really not that hard to use. Also, make sure to organize and rename your triggers and effects properly, otherwise, navigate through them quickly becomes a nightmare. I can only imagine, but from what I've heard previously from other creators, especially in the Age of Empires 2 community, um, it definitely seems the nightmare, the way they have portrayed it. So yeah, let's move to another question over here, because we don't want to sit in negativity and just take the good and leave the bad, of course. But yeah, by all means, guys, take this as a personal advice as well, and jump into it too. Question number 9: when you design a scenario or campaign, what comes first for you, gameplay wise, challenge, storytelling, historical accuracy, or fun, and why? Now, we're gonna move on to question 9 over here as well. The answer. What excites me the most about Age of Mythology and video games in general is the atmosphere. When I made the Tale of the Dragon Retold, the most important thing for me was to teach was that each mission had its own atmosphere and was instantly recognizable. Even when I was creating scenarios on my own for fun, I was made sure that lighting and scenery was immersive, even if the game itself was a bit lame. Otherwise, I think having fun should be the top priority, especially in a game as whimsical as AOM. I think that as a player, we know going in that we're not going to get a real history lesson from playing this game, and that historical references are most of the pretext for epic situations. Exactly. We do this is actually, in my opinion, something that I've highly encouraged. Try to be informative as possible. Of course, we don't want to give like an entire history lesson, that's for sure. Um, but by all means, when you're gonna do some pretext over here as well, make sure that you're also accurate. Honestly, that is what I feel important, because some people can get very fun. And that's something that I've also seen quite often. But by all means, fun is the main element in the campaign, and challenges are welcome, but don't overkill it, honestly. But yeah, we're gonna move on to the next question, which is question 10. What tools, triggers, or editor features do you rely on most, and which ones do you wish were improved? Now, this is the answer of Jay herself. I think one of the most annoying, tedious thing to use is simply placing water. I don't know how to explain it, but it's impossible, capital letters by the way, to be really precise with water, and often you have to completely readjust the height of your terrain to accommodate it. Also, I don't know how it could be possible, but I'd really love it if there were a way to save unit stats exactly as they are in the mission, without having to manually adjust them all. So this is because with every game patch, I have to check if anything has changed my mod and if I needed to repatch it. And it's pretty annoying, especially since the Chinese units have really taken tons and tons of nerfs. Lamau. Honestly, I agree, and this is exactly something I've already pointed out a few questions back, especially something we can also see back within the Age of Empires 2 community, um, where every patch can really ruin the statistics of the units or the overall look as well. Like, imagine if you had that previous overhaul of the Navy, many of the creators had to revisit their campaigns, especially if they were naval focused, to fix and change so much, and it's just really annoying. So I can definitely understand that wanting to have those stats just to say primarily or regularly appear for the others as well, because it's just so much work and so much taxing as well, because you know it consumes so much time which you'd rather use on different things, right? Like, because it's a hobby, but you don't want it to be taxing, right? And that's something that is very important, and I hope the developers will try to take heed of this and maybe offer some kind of solution or something. And by all means, this is not the only thing, because please take heed of the other interviews. There's so much good points as well from the creators, which would help them and, of course, nourish, even encourage other creators to join in, or even save them some time in hopes that they can use it to create more greatness, which we all can consume, and you guys get more attention to the game, of course. So it's a win-win situation. But yeah, anyway, we're moving on to the 11th question. And in this 11th question, we're going to be asking that as well. Has player feedback ever made you rethink or redesign a scenario, and can you share us an example? Now, this is what has been mentioned by Jay herself. Yes, unfortunately, I've received much feedback, but little I did get really helped make me some changes. I've already mentioned the issue mission 2 to the west, where the pioneers and lanterns could trigger the sage's spell. Exactly. But also change mission 1 Rising Waters to add a sentry tower on the right so you can better see the first attack coming from the side. The mission had already been nerfed significantly before. Yeah, I agree. It was definitely hard, but I think I remember even in Extended Nation you had some kind of those towers too, because on the left side we do have those towers, but on the right we don't have any of those towers. And we know that the AI has the tendency to first destroy our buildings, especially those vital towers or economic buildings as well, which I can see also back in my video. So it's very good that you've tried to do that and offer a little bit more nerfs, honestly, because in my opinion it is needed, sorry to say, because even in a new mission, a first mission should be a bit more simple, even if it's on hardest difficulty as well. It should be a little bit more simplistic, honestly. And that is something that I also say, not just in this custom campaign of yours, but also within Obsidian campaign over here with the Aztecs. That one felt literally like too much of a cluster there. Honestly, we were literally thrown into action that really didn't felt very good. But yeah, in Mission 4 Trapped, I made the final objective clear while increasing Younglong's speed and damage to ensure the mission is already won by that point. Okay, that's really interesting. And in Mission 7 Water Place, I reduced the spawn rate of enemy troops defending the boundaries. Oh, glory, yeah. Ah, that one. I'm sorry to say that, Jay, but that was really difficult for me. Not only did their spawns came so hard and quickly, man, or less. I mean, like it's uh, let alone that I really also struggle to um land my troops. So I definitely try to make some buildings overall to spawn some more troops as much as it can, and also fought the enemy from every side. Like, Jesus, it was insane, but it was still fun. You gotta give to me, I've definitely still finished that mission, so big pat on my shoulder. But yeah, it was still fun nonetheless. So yeah, I'm glad that you've already patched and changed these as things in hopes to make it even more fun. But like I said, I think this campaign has definitely been perceived well. It's nearly 2K, so please guys, try to play it more and let's give them some love by giving this campaign a 2K subscription. And there's like 66 reviews already with 4.5 stars, and that's already good. In my opinion, it deserves 5 stars and around 100 ratings, or at least 70. Come on, let's hit that number. Let's make it a nice number over here, guys. So yeah, we're gonna move on to the next question, which will be question 13 over here, ladies and gentlemen. How do you think you have been doing within the Age of Mythology Retold content creator community, and what would you tell your younger self if you had the chance? Now, this is what Jay herself says. I don't think I've really made any name of myself in the community yet, since I'm still new, but I'm still incredibly proud of my campaign, and I think my 5-year-old self would be very, very happy to see what she ended up doing with this editor. Honestly, a good intake, and I think you are pretty much well known already, miss. Look at this. What is this? This bullshit. And especially if you look at, even tell this to your younger self, she will be like, whoa, I definitely left some kind of legacy behind for sure. So take that in and definitely give yourself a pat on the shoulder and treat yourself with some tea or something. I don't know what do you whatever you prefer. But yeah, moving on to question 14. How do you see Age of Mythology Retold its future? Now, this is another very important question, which I honestly find to ask. Good question. I'm not really sure. I think we're nearing the end of the DLC, and there won't be much new content in the future. But I hope the community stays as active as it has always been since the first game came out, and I'm pretty confident about that. Now, here's something we all agree with, and it's rather also a little bit of a conflict feeling, of course, because not many people are either happy with the what do you call it again, the the games, especially with DLC. We don't want Many people do not want to have a lot of influx of DLCs. Some people do, especially in regards to make the game even more better, and of course to offer some more, how should I say, mods, etc. And if I'm gonna look at how the reviews are going, especially with Obsidian Mirror, it's already received 168 great reviews of it. Like 85% already pretty much happy. That's really good. And if we're gonna look at back at the other, I should say, oh, curses, sorry for that. Reviews, for example, the Amidst the Pillars or the Heavenly Spear. Let me just quickly look back at the Heavenly Spear, for example. The ratings there are just 89, so it feels quite similar too. And I think we maybe in the future we'll have some more of that coming forward too, and that is only a matter of time, of course. Um, but some, of course, do not know what will happen, and I think the community will definitely keep it alive, especially the people like you, Notud, Yibagoon, Kusus, and everyone else, honestly, because you guys definitely keep it alive along with the players themselves, like me, or anyone else who's taking a listen to this. So by all means, drop a comment if you're still here, or a like as well, and agree to this too. But yeah, with that mentioned, we're just gonna continue on to the next question. But like I said, guys, I hope it's gonna stay alive. I hope more pantheons will come forward as well, because there's still so much that could happen, be it in the South, in Africa overall. There's so much nice pantheon mythology over there, or well, cults that could be added, for example. Um, or around the Arabian Peninsula, the Baltic Sea, or around the steppes. That could be very cool too, and we can take so much even lessons, for example, from Smite, another nice mythology focused Dota like game. So yeah, but either way, we're moving on to the next question over here, ladies and gentlemen, because we've already answered question 14. So let's go to question number 15. If you could instantly change or add one feature to Age of Mythology Retold Scenario Editor, what would it be? Now, perhaps the option to create a custom list of objects so you don't have to scroll through the entire list every time just to find a small decoration. There's also a really annoying issue, though. It's not specifically related to the editor. The fact that enemy troops on attack move tend to get stuck against the wall instead of attacking them to get through is a game bug that, as far as I can tell, still hasn't been fixed. I agree, and the most horrible thing at the moment as well is, especially with the Aztec units, I've definitely used a lot of move attack, and it's also something I do in Age of Empires 2, that the units lately not been very responsive overall, and that is really saddening. Something I would like to see fixed as well. So please, developers, fix this. And if you guys need some more resources, like in regards to money, just be clear and communicative with us and be eager to fix this. Don't leave it and then just money grab and then eventually see it too, because that's just gonna make people leave the game, and that will be a lose situations for both of us. Um, Moving forward to the next question, which will be question 16. Are you currently working on any custom campaign or scenario, and are you willing to share some juicy information about it, or would you rather keep it to yourself for now as you keep on cooking? Now, question 16 has been answered as well, and she says yes. It's still in the planning stages because I have to finish my school year first, lol. But I really love to create a mini campaign with 3 missions still set in the Tale of the Dragon universe, but this time completely original. That will tell a bit of Neza's story and the problems he might have had with Ao Guang. Now that is very interesting, especially in regards to Ao, which I really adore as well. If I had to also choose one of my favorite um, Chinese pantheon deities, then it definitely would be Ao. So I'm really looking forward to it as well. And I don't want to bubble too much about it, but let's just go forward to question number 17. Is there something you'd like to say to the community? Now, this is what she answered. Thank you for everything you've built. It's really impressive. If Age of Mythology is still going strong today, it's largely thanks to you. Indeed. Like I already also said, not only is Age of Mythology is going on simply because of the reason from creators back in the Heavens forums where Tud, Aini Kusu, and Yibagoon were around who made so much, and sadly there's so many others whose names I've already mentioned as well, but they're sadly not around no more anymore. So far, I've heard, of course, from the creators of Oscar and Van Hal. Uh, but yeah, they're not there so far, I've heard. So yeah, it's just really saddening, honestly, because I would have loved it, especially Vandal, because I loved his Tower of Babylon scenario as well. And we can see, looking back on that forums, it was such active and all that, but pretty much is now deserted, especially since Extended Edition came, then came Retold, and Retold is still very much active in my opinion. It's not like a billions, but it's active. It's a game that's still being played, adored, and cherished by all of us. And for that, guys, you can thank yourself, but we got also thanks these creators putting more interesting new things, because we as humans are very curious creatures as well. So keep that up, definitely. Um, With that said, I think we should move on to question number 18. Is there a way people can contact you, like other content creators or those in the community who played your campaign and wanted to offer thoughts, opinions with some constructive feedback, perhaps? Now, yes, via my Discord server, shotachou, or directly on the game's official forum. Now, here's something I want to say about the game's official forum. I don't know how. The only thing I always suggest is just like you already did right now, Discord. Please try to leave them or like an email behind your creations, because even if you're gonna say the game's official forum, sadly in Age of Mythology Retold, when we're gonna go and write down like a view, we don't have like a review button, right? We will have to go to the Age of Empires forum and try to find it if we can. And even if you did, you'll have to then leave a review and then say like, hey, I want to contact you because this and this and this. You're literally forced to leave a review, which, in my opinion, should not be the matter. You should be able to chat someone or just poke them, and that is also something that I personally would like to have changed. But that's my opinion, of course. But by all means, everyone should definitely still leave a review, and that this game, especially the mod section, should be attached to the Age of Empires forums as well. Because that is what in Age of Empires 2 you could do. Whenever you want to rate a mod or something, you literally are going to be um, guided towards those forums where you can leave a review, you can check the downloads, etc., etc. But here you can't. So that's why many people even are forced to leave a link to the forums and all that if they are up and all. But just like I said, it's just sad. I really would loved that they would have changed that honestly. But yeah, moving to question 19. If someone considered playing one of your custom campaigns or scenarios in Age of Mythology Retold, which one should it be and why? Now, this is what she says. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not an expert on existing custom campaigns, but from what little I've seen, they all look amazing. Yes, yesterday I discovered the Siege of Athens to create the menu for the reverse version, and even though I haven't played it yet, just seeing the amount of content and effort put into the left me speechless. I think anyone should dive right in and play this. I wholeheartedly agree. Definitely try to check out the reversed campaign made by these man's goals and the mirrors altogether. An original creator is, of course, the Battlefield player as well. He has definitely done very good, along with the voice actors. So shout out to all of them who definitely did a very great job indeed. Um, Moving on to the next question, which is question 20. Roughly how much time does it take you to create a full scenario or campaign from the idea to release? Now, this is a very interesting, guys, because many people have already mentioned it can take a year, some take months, and others even take a few weeks. So I'm curious to hear what she has to say. It took me about 2 weeks working on nothing else to get a mission to satisfactory playable states. Interesting. But when you're factoring in all adjustments and patches that came later, it takes quite a bit longer. That all doesn't take into account the scenario dedicated solely to cutscenes, which takes a bit time as well. For example, in The Tale of the Dragon Retold, even though there are only 9 playable missions, there are a total of 23 scenarios. Damn. For the entire campaign, we started on March 14, 2025, and released it on July 12th. So took us a full 4 months, not counting all the numerous patches that have come out since then. Whew. Well, then again, I think you guys have definitely worked very efficiently. Because, like I said, some people definitely taken a very longer time. Again, not that is a bad thing, of course, but I think it also has to do with the influence of dedication, free time, or that you guys have been working together. Because again, Rock has helped you as well, and that just is just amazing to see and hear, and definitely very big pat on the shoulder for doing so. With that said, I'll just move to the next question. What keeps you motivated to keep creating, especially during long or difficult projects? this is another interesting question with many people offering different answers to, because it's just so much fun. I love creating, I love experience, I love everything. And the goal of having beautiful, polished, finished projects is also super motivating. Now, here we go. Mostly, I've heard the same answer: motivation. The motivation of trying to put something onto the plate of us consumers to enjoy and taste. Sometimes it's overcooked, sometimes it's just cooked well and balanced. Sometimes it isn't very much, cooked overall, but it tastes full already, Like some of us eat fish, raw and not cooked. Some of us enjoy it cooked. And that's just a matter of perspective, of course. And they're all welcome. And I think the way you guys are eager and very, looking forward to do this has just made me very happy to see. And you guys should definitely keep up with this. And I love the mutual answer over here. And of course, by all means, a different answer is welcome too. But I definitely can see this relatable and how should I say, very encouraging too. So definitely the dedication is very important over here, and of course the passion to leave a legacy behind in here is very important. And I think, like I mentioned before, you guys have definitely reached that over here, in my opinion. Moving on to the next question, which is question 22. Have you ever knowingly bent or ignored history or mythology to make scenario more fun? Where do you draw the line? Now, she says this. This is like another big answer. Of course, I think that I just like to follow the trident, which mixes and distorts a whole bunch of myth units together. We shouldn't view existing myth as constraints or limitations on creativity. I like to use the real stories as a reference, but nothing more than that. For example, in TOTDR, the Tale of the Dragon Retold, Nezha mentions only once that Li Jing is his father, but that doesn't really matter. I think yeah, I think I remember that you have mentioned that once. Yeah, true. Yeah. Sorry guys, I was just thinking as well. Just yeah. Um Here, let me just also finish this. When I struggle more is when I have to reuse elements from other cultures while making sure it doesn't feel forced. The original Tale of the Dragon based its mission 8 of rocks, even though they are creatures from Chinese mythology at all. So I've decided to rename them Da Peng, which is a sort of equivalent that are actually comes from China. I did the same thing for Fafnir's, renaming to Long, so I could use fire-breathing dragons as enemies, just like the original campaign. Honestly, that is a very good thing as well, and didn't really feel very forcing as well, because even I was like, "What? Why do we have rocks in a place with, um, big forest and all that, and it feels very nice and all that too." But it could have, in my opinion, like I said, definitely used some kind of spacing at certain places too, because it felt very tight in my opinion, especially that island far on the right with those relics, and a little bit below left if I remember, and yeah. But other than that, it was really fun, and I definitely agree that Fafnir renaming to the Julong or the rocks renaming to Da Peng is very interesting way that you've done it as well, and keep that up, of course. There's nothing bad at all for doing so. Now, moving on to question 23, I think it's the cutscenes, even though it's not really that difficult. The main issue is that if a problem occurs while the game is in the cutscene mode, you have to restart the game because there's no way to exit. So be sure to save regularly. So, yeah, that is what she answered to my question in 23. What was the single hardest thing for you to learn in Scenario Editor? So, yeah, that's just really vile and annoying, honestly. But yeah. Uh, Moving on to question 24. Have players ever solved or broken one of your scenarios in a way you didn't expect? This is her answer. I don't think I've seen anyone really break the game. There has always been a few unexpected details, yes. That said, some missions were intentionally designed to include exploitable cheese methods, but no one seems to have found them yet. Um, I think I did. I think I already did. Like, come on. Just like you mentioned, with the lanterns over here with those pioneers. But by all means, I think I'm gonna live up to the reputation as Kim said, the bringer of runes and breaking scenarios and custom campaigns. Because I have already broke some stuff for Mr. Marvel. I've broken some stuff in Darkantos' campaign. I've broken some stuff in These Men's Gods and Vimeris' campaign. I've broken some stuff in MK's 137's campaign, and also here that I've also broken, even though it was not intentional too. Then, um, in the Tail of the Dragon, so five entire things that I've broken, and again, even in Age of Empires 2, I've broken some things as well when I was testing. So it is fun, but by all means, not intentional. Moving on to question 25. Just getting feedback on what's fun and what is. Oh, wait, let me read the question first. What kind of feedback or recognition means the most to you as creator? Just getting feedback on what's fun and what isn't feedback is extremely important for improving. But unfortunately, it's hard to get in such a niche game. Honestly, I agree. Like I mentioned over here, I think the most biggest important here is the Age of Mythology Retold community is far smaller compared to Age of Empires 2. The player base is larger. And I can see definitely with the late few questions and exchanges that I did also with Darkantos, he mentioned already that the expansion pack is, free. When the expansion pack, but the game is free for a moment. And that was really fun to see, for example, that the Xbox, you know, and through Steam, that the game is free from 23rd to 27th of April, giving you a chance and everyone to simply try it out and play it through. And that is just a really amazing that they did. And other content creators, even people who, I was really surprised to see, Boyd TV, have mentioned like, hey, you can jump in, try it out, and made some videos about it as well to encourage people to come in and try it out as well, because you need a little bit of consistent player base to appease and get the attention of um, the creators and those who have the money, of course, and hopes to invest to the game so that they can improve and get it more interesting. So there's going to be a larger player base as well. Um, so that this game will be even more niche for us, all of us, to play. But like you also said, currently it is really hard to get a good views and way of communication from the player base, especially if you're a custom campaign scenario creator at the moment, because there's no forums attached over here. There is the Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition Discord server, but by all means, no one wants to be like in a big Discord server and just speak out their concerns and all that, because that some people are just shy, or some people just be like, yeah, I'm just only there for the news and all that, and try to speak with the developers or whatever. But some people simply want to be in the smaller ones and all that, right? So yeah, but by all means, I think it's still important that people should try to interact and should try to, for example, like you've done over here, add people over here and see to offering constructive feedback and so on, even recognition to improve it as well. But yeah, moving on to question 26 over here. Do you keep any sort of notepad, Excel sheet for fixes or future updates, perhaps other creations that you had in mind? Now, Her answer is, I'm noting everything down on a private Discord server, but so far I've only noted down the main ideas for the future project. That of course is very nice to see. Of course, um, how should I say? This question is, of course, is also came up to me, to my mind. Shout out to Christophorus, who even brought this idea to me to ask for everyone, because I also asked this to him when we were playing some Ghost Tommy Clans or something Ghost Recon. I forgot what game we were playing together, but it was really nice, and he came up with this question. So big shout out to him. He's also one of the creators, content creators around Age of Empires 2. So feel free to check out his stuff. He has got very nice stuff as well, and play through them. Very great games, especially his Alexander campaign, his um, Caesar's campaign as well, Salsa campaign, etc., etc. And that also said, we're gonna move to the next question, which will be question 27. Do you think the editor within a Retold change a lot betterly or not compared to Extended Edition and the Classic? Now, this is what she says. Yes, the old editor now seems so outdated in comparison. The triggers and effects are all much clearer and also allow for much more customization than before. It's really become a pleasure to us this editor. I can definitely hear that, be it from you, be it from Tarkentos, be it from Ibigun, Ainikusu, or like overall from many of you guys, and that's just really pleasant to hear. Obviously, um, so yeah, I'm gonna move to the next question. I'm very happy that people have already done this over here. Um, I'm gonna move on to the next. Last question as well. Well, we have now last questions over here. I said, "Do you have any questions for me?" Now, she, she has this question. Yes, what made you decide to interview the content creators of the Age of Mythology and Age of Empires mods? It's such a unique content and so selfless. Now, by all means, you literally just touched the bottom of my heart and made me flutter and blush over here a bit. But honestly, my idea was simply this: um, an attempt to put you guys into spotlights and get you a bit more closer to the community, right? To offer insider information, to see what you guys' opinions are and perspectives, to see if my opinions and that of everyone else either conflicts to one another or even, seems similar, right? To create different interactions as we adventure through these interviews as well, because I really had the pleasure of doing them with all of you, and have not even had anyone say no doing this, and that is again such an honor for me to have. By all means, the only person, I'm not going to mention, I only had one person who said no, but that's okay. But so far I've already done like more than 12 interviews, and I'm still continuing trying to hunt many more down to get more interviews going, in hopes to, like I said, offer and encourage new and old creators to continue on to make more stuff that we can consume, make videos out, have fun through, um, be learn history or mythology, and have fun, because that is what we are doing. If we are gaming, to get lost into these things. And honestly, I've been getting lost, forgetting the time and all that, doing these kind of things over here too. That also said, I've also been trying to encourage, uh you know even take heed and get the attention from the creators and the game creators as well, developers, to improve the game, by mentioning what you guys already have mentioned, and hammer them down a little bit. That also said, uh, what also has encouraged me is me trying to offer constructive feedback through my videos, because I think, and I deserve that title in my opinion, uh, the person being the first to create all the custom campaign and scenarios, be it in Age of Empires, and also in Retold. And I think one day I'll also implement it on YouTube. But I think that is what I have done, and I've also been very courageous to upload them, be it on moderate difficulty or tighter difficulty. And that is by all means fine. I'm not the most blessed player either, as well, but I think I've done that myself, and also offer some commentary in the way as I go, and offer my opinions, and of course live up to them, not just shove them away when someone approaches me in regards to that. Um, and sometimes I've certainly got emotionful and maybe swear and all that, but hey, I'm still an open book. I'm still honest and all that. And by all means, I did never or would never try to, offend someone. If I did, then by all means, I hope that you have it in the heart to forgive me, as I will formally apologize to you right now as well. But yeah, that's just a whole intake of why I make this. Like I said, to improve, encourage new creators, to get the community a bit more together, offer different perspectives, insider informations, etc., and of course, give some hints and tips and tricks as well, in my opinion, because that is also what I've been doing lately as well, and it has been really fun interacting with you guys, and that is what I'm trying to do as well. And I can already see also the community is doing the same thing as well. So I think there's like so much beneficials over here, um, for all of us, and that is why I've done that. But this is one of our questions, um, and then there's another bonus question. uh, yeah, well, you guys, okay. You guys know that my name is of course Kimsit. Um, so here's the question, like a bonus question: has Kimsit's army finally reached the third village? Okay, I'm just gonna go back. Hold on. We're gonna go back. Okay, give me a moment. Campaign, Fall of the Trident. What was, I think was light sleeper here? Okay, or was the Lost Relic? No, I think it was light sleeper, right? Rampage. Oh yeah, yeah. So in here, if you guys remember, in the light sleeper, as you can see, Kemsit's army will of course rampage, and there was like third villages, or was it four? Two, I think. I'm tempted I should just replay this campaign, but and by all means, I think you guys have the same opinion as I do. But there's three villages over here, and then there's always like a person or the narrator saying like, Kemsit's army has entered the first village, and then he goes on, and then you still have like a timer mission. It's not that hard, of course. It takes some time, and even after destroyed like all buildings, they wait a little bit, right? I don't know if anyone has noticed that. And then you just slowly push on forward to reach the guardian with the sword, but you'll have to go through so much enemies. Of course, you can try to cheese it and just rush into it very quickly as well. And then you deliver that sword to the Guardian, and when the Guardian awakens, Kemp's army is just gonna rush towards you without bothering with the villages anymore. But until then, they just rampages through and just destroys everything, as it's mentioned over here. Um, Here, let me just quickly say. Hold on, let me just quickly. Right, yeah, there we go. Okay, there we go. Okay, sorry, I just had to quickly answer this question. But yeah, he sure has entered the third village. He has destroyed it. He's like burned all the the buildings, torched them, stole all the food, all the money, and delivered it to Set. And then he just, started to rule over Egypt, and he has cut off the head of Gargarensis and just delivered to Arkantos. And he said, "Hey, Arkantos, screw you." And nah, I mean, nah. I mean, I definitely still would want justice. Kempsit didn't deserve that death. I didn't. I should have run away and just set it up, I guess, with Ida Almonor and all that. And then, just plot twisted away and all. I don't know. But, yeah, again, um, but by all means, you're not alone in this reference as well, by the way. Um, yeah, that's it. I don't think I have missed anything else. And as she said already, and of course, thank you so much for giving me and everyone who's been interviewed so far a chance to speak. It's really awesome. By all means, I had honor, and I'm the one who has to thank you guys, both UJ, the people who have been staying around to listen, and of course to Rock as well, to even be eager to even take up with the offer and all that, and of course for his personal reasons, emotional ones, which is again by all means fine, nothing bad over there, um, to not do it anymore. But then again, he's still here around, and he's still very friendly, and is still available for anyone who wants to help it, etc. Um, but with that said, guys, we're gonna stop over here. Thank you for watching. Write down in the comments section below what you think, and etc. And subscribe to the channel if you're new and wish to support it. Do you want to recommend something or record a game together? That's possible as well. Just show on Discord server or write down in the comments box below so we can have a chit chat about it. And until then, I'll see you guys in my next video with another content creator interview or a simple gameplay series.